Hey everyone, a lot of things have happened since the last time I gave you guys an update. First of all, this week marked the seventh week since I received my diagnostic, and in my head, it feels like it's been so much longer, and yet the time has went by so fast, so it's kind of a contradictory in that sense. But like I said, a lot of things have happened. One of which is a couple of days ago, I ended up going to the ER because for a while now I started having these um, burning sensation, burning pain in my upper abdomen and in my chest. Since the call I had 7 weeks ago, I didn't have any other updates or feedback from the oncologists or the doctors. And I tried contacting my oncologist because after I received the call, it was all blurry in my head. And then I started having some questions that I wanted answered about the type of cancer and etc. And I tried contacting, the hospital where I'm being followed so that just to leave a message so my oncologist would call me back for the questions. But apparently, every time I was calling the secretary of the department, I would only be told, oh, we can't help you. You're on a waiting list. We can't do anything. You're on a waiting list. And I tried leaving messages, and apparently I couldn't. And apparently the doctor's schedule was full, so he couldn't call me back. Anyways, I was starting, to get really anxious with these types of pains, and I didn't know what type of medication I could take to relieve them, and it started to be a bit too much for me. And one day when I tried calling them back again because I didn't know what to do, they just told me, well, if the pain is so intense, then just go to the ER. So I ended up going to the ER, and when I arrived, it was a pretty bad day for the hospital that day. And I was told that it was phenomenal, the number of patients that was there, and that the waiting would be really, really long. But then again, I had no other option at that point, so I decided to, try and wait. And I ended up waiting 17 hours sitting on a chair at the ER, and it was the longest time I ever waited. It was really, really awful. At first, it was the first 5 6 hours I was alone because Bran had to work, and after that, my father, he had finished his day at work, and he decided to come directly from his work to join me to just giving company and just to support me in this. And he arrived at I arrived at the ER at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. My father arrived at 6 p.m. and we talked a bit, and just his presence really helped me because at that point I just wanted to abandon everything and just tough it out until I would get a call for my oncologist. And we persevered, and he told me to wait, and eventually at, I think it was 4 in the morning, they called my name to see a doctor. So I arrived in the chamber where you can see the doctor, at the emergency. And the doctor arrived. It was a lady, and the first thing she told me, I was just waiting, and she told me, I've seen all of your dossier. I know that you have cancer, and I see that you've been already investigated for a lot of things in the past. And she just told me, I don't know what I can do for you at this point, except tell you to wait for your scan. And at that point, with the stress, the pain, the fact that I hadn't slept and eaten in 17 hours, and just everything, I had a complete breakdown in the room with the doctor, and she was kind of taken by surprise, and she really came and comforted me. And I started crying uncontrollably, and it was everything just went out. I was a total mess at that point. And seeing me like this, she told me, wait a minute, I'm just gonna go get back into your file, see some things, and I'm gonna get back to you as soon as I can. So at this point, I was like, sure, do whatever you can. And then she examined my files, she came back, and then she told me, why didn't you tell me you were Marfan, which is a rare syndrome that doctors have been following me for a couple of years for that. It's mostly related to the heart, although there can be other, symptoms that can affect your body. And I told her, well, I thought, the nurses would have seen it in my file. And she told me that if I had told that when I arrived in the ER, that I would have been seen way much sooner, because apparently it's more urgent when you're Marfan than if you have cancer, which I thought, cancer is a pretty big thing. So I don't know. And then she told me that because of this, she can, put me in a emergency state. I didn't quite understand that part, but then she told me that she would give me a complete scan right away. Not the same scan that I've been waiting to get at the other hospital, but still it's a pretty good scan. That she would, do blood works, check my urine, even check my heart. And the great part of all this is that once the process started, everything was very smooth. I had absolutely no waiting time after that. So they did the scan and everything, and then I had to wait about, again, an hour and a half and 2 hours just so that all the results would come in to the doctor. Then she met with me with the results. She told me that parts of my guts, my intestines, I don't know how to say it, parts of them were inflamed. She thinks that it's mostly because of the anxiety, the emotional distress of the diagnosis, and that she did notice fibrous mass. She didn't want to get too much in detail for that, because she told me again that with the scan I'm gonna get, the other scan for my cancer is gonna tell them more than what she did. She did tell me there was a big fibrous mass somewhere. She didn't specify where, even when I asked her questions, and I feel that she didn't want to talk too much about it, just to alleviate some of my anxiety. Although she told me that she checked my heart, my lungs, my gallbladder, stomach. I think she checked my kidneys a bit, and she didn't notice anything that was too much inflamed or bigger than usual. Like if there was a tumor inside, let's say, and an organ would be abnormally large. She said she didn't notice something like that, and she didn't notice big lesions. So, which is a good thing. She felt like nothing was very urgent at that point, which at least alleviated some of my anxiety and pressure I felt. And she told me that the pain I had, probably due to the stress, which is understandable. She gave me some pills for the pain and some pills for stress to use only when in extreme cases, and at least that helped me. And then she told me like the only thing left to do is just wait for the other hospital to call me to schedule a date for my very important scan. And then I went back home. I slept a whole day, and then the next and also she put me on leave for my work because I was still working at that point, and she put me on leave for 2 weeks just to get a lot of rest, alleviate most of my anxiety, etc. And then when we finally got back home, I went to sleep immediately. I slept for almost a whole day, and still had some pain, so I took a pill which really helped with the pain. And I was just really trying to relax myself. And the day after that, as I returned from work, from giving my paper to my boss that told him I was on leave for 2 weeks, I got back home, and as soon as I stepped inside, my phone rang, and it was the hospital for my special scan that was calling to schedule a date, which we've all been waiting for the last 8 weeks. I was so surprised. I mean, my heart was just pounding so fast, and they told me the date, which is this coming Tuesday, which will land on November 2nd. So November 2nd, I'm gonna get my scan. They told me that at this point, this type of test only exists has been existing for the past 3 years, and that they were the first place in Canada, to offer it. And they told me that since it's only been 3 years since they've begun doing that type of test, that it was still considered a bit not experimental, but they had to get my approval that I agreed to participate in this and for the scan. And of course, I said yes. They told me that so far they've done 3,000 scans like this, and no issues. There was no complications from that scan for the patients that were tested. So of course I said yes immediately, and then afterward I had to call the hospital where my oncologist is to let them know the date of my scan, because he told me when he spoke with me in early September that I had to call him as soon as I get my date. So I left him a message, and then I got called back the same day telling me that he would call me on November 17th with the results and with everything that was going to happen from this point on for my treatment. So at least now all dates are fixed. I am not that anxious for the scan itself because I'm not going to get a result then. But I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of anxious for when the oncologist is going to call me with the results. It can go a lot of different ways. At least my latest visit to the ER gave me some hope. They didn't see nothing too aggravating, although they did see a mass. But I'm still anxious, but I'm managing it kind of well. And all of this to say that it's all going so fast, but it's good because we were all waiting for that scan, for the date of that scan, and now that I know it's coming, I think things can go fast from that point, and I feel like depending on the results of the scan, maybe the doctor is gonna try to get the date earlier for my results and see if they're gonna schedule surgery or what the treatment is. So yeah, I know I've been speaking for a bit now, but all of this has been happening in the last few days, and I wanted to give you guys an update. And yeah, it's been quite something. And although I had ups and downs again, now that I know the date of my scan and I was kind of reassured by the doctor I saw in the ER, I'm feeling a bit better. I'm still receiving lots of messages from you guys on all social medias, and I want to say a big thank you for that again. Although I didn't reply to all of them yet, know that I think I've seen most of them or them all. I don't log too much on social medias these days, and I'm still not gonna tell you the name of the cancer, the type of cancer it is. I don't even want to Google it. I'm still waiting on the results, and if the results are quite positive, I'm probably going to tell you more, probably at least the name of the cancer. But until then, I want to keep it still private for now. I know many of you have been asking what type of cancer it is, but you have to understand that even just like seeing people in a movie or seeing articles about cancer, everything's kind of, I don't want to say triggering, but it's causing me, a little bit of a panic attack, which I had about a week ago when I went to dinner at my family's place. My sister was there, my parents, my nephews, my nieces, and I think it was my sister who just told me that she had seen her doctor, and she had spoke a bit to her doctor about my cancer, and only just hearing that part, I started, getting all sweaty, and my heart started pounding, and I had to leave the table and go into the bathroom with some cold water, and I had I think I had a little bit of a panic attack. But now, it's a bit better, and we're just now we just have to wait and maximum until November 17th for the results. So from that point on, we'll see where that leads us. So again, of course, I will keep you all updated on this, and if the results are good, then I'm gonna probably tell you the type of cancer it is and more details about it. But until then, again, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who've been so supportive with me so far, and yeah, we're all hoping things are gonna get well, and we're staying positive. So thank you guys again, and until then, be safe. And I guess we're gonna see each other in a new video soon. So thank you guys. Bye bye.